164.8 years to orbit the sun in an anticlockwise direction. Let's move on. The planets and the number of moons. Generally, before now, we have been able to establish that we have, altogether, we have 32 moons on our planets. For Mercury, Mercury has no moon at all. Venus, it has no moon. If you don't want to call it moon, you call it natural satellites, because they are the ones that provide light for that planet. Earth. Earth has one moon or one satellite. Mars. Mars has 2 moons. For Jupiter, it is 12 moons. You can see that. It has the highest number of satellites. Saturn, it is 9 moons. Uranus has 5. Neptune has 2. And like I've told you before, we are not talking about Pluto any longer. The moon and the star. What do I say? The moon and the star. The moon is the satellite of the Earth. Can you see that? As simple as ABC. The moon is the satellite of the Earth. For the star is the heavenly bodies. The stars are the heavenly bodies that twinkles. Can you see that? The stars are the heavenly bodies that twinkles. And that is why, even when we are younger, there is a particular song that they often sing at night, that twinkle, twinkle, little star. You understand? That is, it shines, it twinkles, it blinks. Twinkle, twinkle. Thank you. You are following. Let's move on. The stars are the heavenly bodies that twinkles. Summary. So far, we have been able to discuss the meaning of solar system. We have said solar system comprises the sun and its 9 known planets, or the planets that revolve around it. Solar system comprises the sun and the planets that revolve around it. The sun is stationary. To us, as a layman, they believe the sun moves. No, that is not correct. The sun is stationary. It is the planets that revolve around it. Then, stars are the heavenly bodies that twinkles. Further practice. Which of the planets has the highest number of satellites? Which of the planets has the highest number of satellites? Next, Uranus has how many satellites? Uranus has how many satellites? And finally, how many planets has no satellites at all? It is on this premise that we are going to stop today's lesson. But after answering all these questions, you submit to our email. The email will be displayed on the screen. Please, stay safe. Once again, my name is Adebayo Babawande. Bye for now.
àtótó arére parakùí bàbá mọ̀gánná kékulé ó gbọ́ kó sọ fún toko kádùn ó gbọ́ kó rò fóòbẹ̀ ọ̀kan iléeṣẹ́ tẹlifíṣàn ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn OGTV ti sún síwájú o ìmọ̀ ìjìnlẹ̀ wa ti rìn jìnnà a ti kúrò níbi ìtànà a ti sún síwájú gẹ́rẹ́gẹ́ ẹ lè rí wa wò kétékété lórí ìkànnì GoTV ní channel 100 tàbí DSTV ní channel 260 bó sì jẹ́ StarTimes lẹ́yìn lò ní ẹ lè rí wa wò ní channel 113 ẹ tún lè kàn sí wa lórí ẹ̀rọ ayélujára bíi Facebook Instagram àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ tàbí kẹ́ ẹ tún kàn sí wa lórí ẹ̀rọ alátagbà wa www.ogtv.com.ng/live OGTV òmìrán ni wá a kì í ṣẹgbẹ́ ìgúnnu.
Igbákejì ààrẹ ilé wa ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n Yẹmí Ọ̀ṣínbàjò ti ṣe adelé ọ̀gá àgbà pátá tí wọ́n ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ yàn fún iléeṣẹ́ ọlọ́pàá ilé wa Usman Alkali Baba lọ́ṣọ̀ọ́. Gómìnà ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn ọmọọba Dàpọ̀ Abíọ́dún ti pilẹ̀ síde ètò ìpàtẹ ọjà Gateway World Trade Fair ìkẹwàá irú rẹ̀. Ikọ̀ amúṣẹ́ṣe tí iléeṣẹ́ ààrẹ gbé kalẹ̀ lórí ọ̀rọ̀ COVID-19 ni yóò máa ṣiṣẹ́ báyìí gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìgbìmọ̀ tí yóò paná COVID-19 run pátápátá ní ilẹ̀ yìí. Wọ́n ti gbé iṣẹ́ àtúnṣe ilé ìfọpo tó wà ní Port Harcourt lé agbaṣẹ́ṣe lọ́wọ́ pẹ̀lú owó oní bílíọ̀nù kan ààbọ̀ dọ́là. Àjọ tó ń gbógun ti àṣìlò oògùn olóró ti rọ́wọ́ tó àwọn afurasí méjì pẹ̀lú òbítíbitì ẹrù igbó. Ẹ kú àṣálẹ́ o àsìkò ọrọ̀ ajé òní ẹ̀kúnrẹ́rẹ́ ìròyìn la mú wá láti iléeṣẹ́ tẹlifíṣàn ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn nílùú Abẹ́òkúta. Lára Babátúndé ni oníròyìn. Igbákejì ààrẹ ilé wa ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n Yẹmí Ọ̀ṣínbàjò ti ṣe adelé ọ̀gá àgbà pátá fún iléeṣẹ́ ọlọ́pàá ilé wa tuntun Usman Alkali Baba lọ́ṣọ̀ọ́ fún ipò tuntun tí wọ́n ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ yàn án sí níléeṣẹ́ ọba tó wà nílùú Àbújá. Èyí wáyé látẹ̀lé bí ààrẹ Muhammadu Buhari ṣe fọwọ́ sí ìyànsípò bàbá gẹ́gẹ́ bí adelé ọ̀gá àgbà pátá fún iléeṣẹ́ ọlọ́pàá ilé wa. Alákòóso fún iléeṣẹ́ tó mójútó ọ̀rọ̀ àwọn ọlọ́pàá ní ilé wa Nàìjíríà Maigari Dingyagi sọ pé lẹ́sẹ̀kẹsẹ̀ ni ìyànsípò náà ti bẹ̀rẹ̀. Ìṣàkóso tó wà lóde lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ báyìí ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn ló ti gùn lé iṣẹ́ lílà àti ṣíṣe àtúnṣe àwọn ojú pópónà káàkiri ìpínlẹ̀ yìí. Lára èyí tí a ti rí èyí tó lọ sí ibi tó jẹ́ ibùjókòó àwọn iléeṣẹ́ ajé ńláńlá tí wọn yóò sì máa ṣíde iṣẹ́ lílà ojú òpópónà Àtàn Lùsádà sí Àgbárá níbi ọ̀sẹ̀ méjì sí àsìkò yìí. Bákan náà ní ìṣàkóso yìí tún mú ọ̀rọ̀ àwọn àgbègbè ìgbèríko lókùnkúndùn láti lè fi ṣe àmúgbòrò iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀ àti ìdàgbàsókè àwọn okòwò pẹ́ẹ́pẹ́ẹ̀pẹ́ alábọ́dé àti àwọn tí wọ́n ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ń dàgbàsókè sí i. Gómìnà ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn ọmọọba Dàpọ̀ Abíọ́dún ló ṣípayá àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ wọ̀nyí lásìkò tó ń pilẹ̀ síde ètò ìpàtẹ ọjà àgbáyé ti Gateway ìkẹwàá irú rẹ̀. Akọ̀ròyìn wa Túndé Ọláníran ló mú ìròyìn bọ̀ ẹ jẹ́ ká gbọ́ lẹ́nu Ọdúnayọ̀ Ògúnládé.
Ìpàtẹ ọjà ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn fún tọdún 2021 èyí tó jẹ́ ìkẹwàá irú rẹ̀ pẹ̀lú àkòrí tí wọ́n pè ní títún ẹ̀ka ètò ọ̀gbìn sọ bí ẹni sọgbá àti mímú àtúnṣe bá ètò ọrọ̀ ajé láti gbòòrò kọjá ẹnu àlà ilẹ̀ Nàìjíríà nípa lílo ìmọ̀ ìjìnlẹ̀. Ẹ̀ka ètò ọrọ̀ ajé ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn ló ṣagbátẹrù ìpàtẹ ọjà ọ̀hún. Ìpàtẹ ọjà náà yóò mú kí àwọn olókoòwò kéékèèké àti olókoòwò tó ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ń dàgbàsókè ó ráyè ṣe àfihàn ọjà wọn fáráyé rí pẹ̀lú bí ìjọba ṣe mú kí gbogbo ètò tò kí ohun gbogbo sì wà ní sẹpẹ́ láti mú kí ohun gbogbo lọ bó ṣe yẹ kó lọ. Àwọn ohun èlò wà lóríṣiríṣi níbi ìpàtẹ ọjà ọ̀hún. Gómìnà ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn Ọmọọba Dàpọ̀ Abíọ́dún yànnàná ọ̀rọ̀ náà pé ìṣèjọba èyí tí òun darí rẹ̀ ti fi ààyè lẹ̀ fún àwọn onílé iṣẹ́ láti wá dá iṣẹ́ sílẹ̀ ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn. Gómìnà jẹ́ kó di mímọ̀ pé èyí ló fà á tíjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn fi ń sa ipá rẹ̀ láti mú kí ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn ó jẹ́ ibi àkọ́kọ́ tí àwọn olùdáṣẹ́sílẹ̀ yóò ní lọ́kàn tí wọn yóò sì yàn láàyò láti wá dá iléeṣẹ́ wọn sí. Ètò ìyáwó ìdálé iṣẹ́ sílẹ̀ ti ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn ń lọ lọ́wọ́. Gómìnà ti wá pa á láṣẹ fún àjọ SAMCA láti fún àwọn tó bá nífẹ̀ẹ́ sí ètò ẹ̀yáwó nípa ìdáṣẹ́sílẹ̀ ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn pẹ̀lú ìgbésẹ̀ tó tọ́. Gómìnà yóò ṣètò ìfilọ́lẹ̀ ètò owó ìdàgbàsókè okòwò alábọ́dé àti okòwò tó ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ń dàgbàsókè láìpẹ́, èyí tí yóò mú kí ètò ọrọ̀ ajé ó túnbọ̀ fẹsẹ̀ múlẹ̀ dandan sí i ní ìpínlẹ̀ yìí.
Ẹ̀wẹ̀, wọ́n ti kan sáárá sí ìṣàkóso tó wà lórí àlééfà báyìí ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn fún àwọn ìlànà àti ètò ọrọ̀ ajé èyí tó lè mú kí okòwò ó túbọ̀ gbèrú sí i ní ìpínlẹ̀ yìí tó ń fojú hàn ní ìwọ̀nba oṣù 22 tó dé ipò bí àwọn ìlànà ṣe ti ń mú èso rere jáde. Àwọn tó sọ̀rọ̀ ìwúrí níbi ayẹyẹ tí wọ́n fi ṣíde ìpàtẹ ọjà ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn ìkẹwàá irú rẹ̀ ni wọ́n sọ ọ̀rọ̀ yìí. Akọ̀ròyìn wa Túndé Ọláníran ló bá wọn wà níbẹ̀. Àbọ̀rẹ́ lẹ́nu Ọdúnayọ̀ Ògúnládé.
Ìpàtẹ ọjà tí ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn ṣe agbátẹrù rẹ̀ ti kọjá ibi tí àwọn ènìyàn ti ń pàdé láti ṣètò ọrọ̀ ajé nìkan. Ó ti di ọ̀pákùtẹ̀lẹ̀ fún gbogbo olókoòwò lọ́kùnrin àti lóbìnrin láti lè fi ṣàfihàn irúfẹ́ ọjà tí wọ́n ń tà àti ohun tí wọ́n ń fi ọwọ́ ara wọn ṣe lábẹ́lé tí wọ́n sì fẹ́ kó di mímọ̀ fáwọn ènìyàn. Ìpàtẹ ọjà náà ti pèsè onírúurú àǹfààní fún àwọn tí kò fi bẹ́ẹ̀ ní òye nípa ìdókòwò, ṣùgbọ́n látàrí pípéjú síbi ìpàtẹ ọjà náà lọ́pọ̀ ẹ̀dá fi ń ní ìmísí láti bẹ̀rẹ̀ okòwò tiwọn tí wọ́n sì ń jèrè gọbọi. Àwọn alábòójútó lẹ́ka ètò ọrọ̀ ajé àti ìdásílẹ̀ sílẹ̀ títí fi dórí àwọn ẹlẹ́gbẹ́ wọn lẹ́ka ilé iṣẹ́ tó wà lẹ́ka ètò ọ̀gbìn ti jọ sọ àsọyépọ̀ wípé ìdókòwò tí kò bá sí ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn á jẹ́ wípé irúfẹ́ okòwò bẹ́ẹ̀ kò sí nílẹ̀ Nàìjíríà ni. Pẹ̀lú ètò àti àwọn ohun àmúyẹ tí ìṣèjọba tó wà ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn gùn lé, ó ti fi hàn gbangba wípé ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn kò ṣetán láti kúrò ní ipò tó wà gẹ́gẹ́ bí aṣíwájú lẹ́ka ètò ilé iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀ nílẹ̀ Nàìjíríà. Ìpínlẹ̀ yìí sì ti ń gbìyànjú láti wà ní ipò kíní nílẹ̀ Áfíríkà.
Ìṣàkóso tó wà lórí àlééfà báyìí ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn yóò tẹ̀síwájú láti máa mú ètò ẹ̀kọ́ tó yè kooro àti ìtọ́jú àwọn ògo wẹrẹ jákèjádò ìpínlẹ̀ yìí ní kókó. Ìyàwó gómìnà ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn arábìnrin Bámidélé Abíọ́dún ló sọ ọ̀rọ̀ yìí káyé gbọ́ lásìkò tó bá àwọn ògo wẹrẹ ṣe àjọyọ̀ ọdún àjíǹde ní ilé ìjọba Valley View tó wà ní Òkègbè nílùú Abẹ́òkúta. Akọ̀ròyìn wa Adébọ́lá Ọ̀ṣọ́mọjì ló mú ìròyìn bọ̀. Ẹ gbọ́ lẹ́nu Ọdúnayọ̀ Ògúnládé.
Gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọ̀nà láti fi ìfẹ́ hàn àti láti fi ṣàpèjúwe ẹ̀kọ́ tí a rí kọ́ lásìkò ọdún àjíǹde, èyí ló fà á tí aya gómìnà ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn arábìnrin Bámidélé Abíọ́dún fi kó àwọn ọmọdé jọ jákèjádò ìjọba ìbílẹ̀ ogún tó wà ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn. Nígbà tí arábìnrin Bámidélé Abíọ́dún sọ̀rọ̀, ó dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run pẹ̀lú ìfẹ́ àti ìṣọ̀kan àti ààbò rẹ̀ èyí tó fi bo àwọn ògo wẹrẹ ọ̀hún, pẹ̀lú bó ṣe jẹ́ pé onírúurú ìpèníjà ní orílẹ̀-èdè ń kojú, ṣùgbọ́n síbẹ̀ ó pa àwọn ìwé wọ̀nyí mọ́. Ó ti wá gba àwọn òbí lámọ̀ràn àti àwọn ènìyàn olùdáṣẹ́sílẹ̀ tí fi dé gbogbo àwọn tọ́rọ̀ kàn láti gbìyànjú láti sa ipá wọn kí wọ́n tún lè mú kí ètò ẹ̀kọ́ ó ní agbára sí i, èyí tí àwọn ọmọ wọ̀nyí yóò fi máa jàǹfààní ẹ̀. Níbi tí àjọyọ̀ náà ti ń wáyé, aya gómìnà ìpínlẹ̀ yìí fúnra rẹ̀ bá àwọn ọmọ náà yọ̀ tó sì fẹ́ hàn sí wọn pẹ̀lú bó ṣe fún wọn ní onírúurú ẹ̀bùn tí wọ́n sì jó tóníkálukú wọn sì ń fò fáyọ̀ pẹ̀lú ìfẹ́ tí aya gómìnà fi hàn sí wọn.
Ikọ̀ amúṣẹ́ṣe tí iléeṣẹ́ ààrẹ gbé kalẹ̀ lórí COVID-19 ni yóò máa ṣiṣẹ́ báyìí gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìgbìmọ̀ tí yóò máa tukọ̀ pípaná COVID-19 pátápátá lórílẹ̀-èdè yìí. Ààrẹ Muhammadu Buhari ló buwọ́lu àyípadà yìí bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti ọjọ́ 1 oṣù kẹrin tí yóò sì ṣiṣẹ́ di ọjọ́ 21 oṣù kejìlá ọdún 2021. Ọ̀gbẹ́ni Boss Mustapha ló ṣípayá èyí níbi ìpàdé kan pẹ̀lú àwọn akọ̀ròyìn tó wáyé lọ́jọ́ ìṣẹ́gun nílùú Àbújá. Mustapha tó jẹ́ alága ìgbìmọ̀ amúṣẹ́ṣe àti akọ̀wé ìjọba àpapọ̀ ilé wa ló ṣe àlàyé pé ìgbìmọ̀ yìí ni yóò máa ṣiṣẹ́ láti rí i pé àtànkálẹ̀ àrùn kòrónà kò tún gbérí mọ́ ní orílẹ̀-èdè yìí. Ó ṣèkìlọ̀ pé ó ṣeéṣe kí ìpèníjà mìíràn tún wáyé pẹ̀lú àwọn ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ tí à ń gbọ́ káàkiri àgbáyé tí a kò bá ṣọ́ra bí a ṣe ń fi àdàgbà ìgbésẹ̀ tí à ń bá lọ yìí tì sí ibì kan. Bákan náà ni akọ̀wé ìjọba àpapọ̀ ọ̀hún tún kéde pé orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà yóò tẹ́wọ́ gba àfikún àwọn abẹ́rẹ́ àjẹsára ti Oxford AstraZeneca mìíràn tó jẹ́ 1,100 láti ọ̀dọ̀ ìjọba orílẹ̀-èdè India. Àjọ tó ń gbógun ti àṣìlò oògùn olóró lápapọ̀ ilé wa ẹ̀ka ti ìpínlẹ̀ Ondo sọ lọ́jọ́rú pé òun ti rọ́wọ́ tó àwọn afurasí méjì kan fún ẹ̀sùn pé wọ́n ká oògùn olóró mọ́ wọn lọ́wọ́. Apàṣẹ àjọ NDLEA ní ìpínlẹ̀ náà Buba Wakawa sọ pé wọ́n mú àwọn afurasí náà pẹ̀lú òbítíbitì ẹrù igbó tí ìwọ̀n rẹ̀ lé ní 500 kìlógíráàmù ní Ìyàmbò lágbègbè ìjọba ìbílẹ̀ ìwọ̀ oòrùn Ẹ̀sákò ni wọ́n ti mú àwọn afurasí náà. Àwọn afurasí yìí ló jẹ́wọ́ pé ìpínlẹ̀ Bauchi làwọn ń lọ láti Uzeba lágbègbè ìjọba ìbílẹ̀ Owa ní ìpínlẹ̀ Edo. Apàṣẹ ọ̀hún sọ pé ńṣe ni wọ́n di ẹrù òfin ọ̀hún sọ́nà 2,710 tí wọ́n sì kó pamọ́ sáàrin àwọn èso ọ̀pọ̀ òyìnbó nínú ọkọ̀ akérò funfun kan kí ọwọ́ tó tẹ̀ wọ́n. Láti lè wá ìyanjú sí ọ̀rọ̀ ìyanṣẹ́lódì ẹgbẹ́ àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ ilé ìgbìmọ̀ asòfin nílẹ̀ Nàìjíríà àti àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ ẹ̀ka ètò ìdájọ́, alága ìgbìmọ̀ àwọn adarí ilé ìgbìmọ̀ asòfin ìpínlẹ̀ nílẹ̀ Nàìjíríà tó tún jẹ́ adarí ilé ìgbìmọ̀ asòfin ìpínlẹ̀ Bauchi ìyẹn asòfin Abubakar Suleiman ti léwájú àwọn ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ yòókù láti lọ ṣèpàdé pẹ̀lú alága ìgbìmọ̀ àwọn gómìnà nílẹ̀ Nàìjíríà ọ̀mọ̀wé Káyọ̀dé Fáyẹmí ní ìlú Àdó Èkìtì. Ó tọ́ka pé ìgbìmọ̀ àwọn adarí ilé ìgbìmọ̀ asòfin ti ṣèpàdé pẹ̀lú gómìnà Fáyẹmí tó jẹ́ alága ìgbìmọ̀ àwọn gómìnà nílẹ̀ Nàìjíríà láti lè wá ọ̀nà láti fi òpin sí ìyanṣẹ́lódì ọ̀hún kí wọ́n sì pe àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ náà padà sẹ́nu iṣẹ́. Aṣòfin Suleiman sọ pé ìgbésẹ̀ náà yóò tẹ̀síwájú nílùú Àbújá lọ́sẹ̀ yìí láti lè fi ẹnu ọ̀rọ̀ jóná. Bákan náà ló tún ṣe àlàyé pé ìpàdé yìí tún jíròrò lórí àwọn ọ̀nà láti túbọ̀ mú kí ìbáṣepọ̀ àti ìfọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ tó wà láàárín àwọn ẹ̀ka ìṣàkóso àti ẹ̀ka aṣòfin ó gbópọn sí i fún àǹfààní àwọn ọmọ ilẹ̀ Nàìjíríà. Bákan náà ni igbákejì alága ìgbìmọ̀ ọ̀hún lápá gúúsù ìwọ̀ oòrùn tó tún jẹ́ adarí ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn aṣòfin Ọlákúnlé Olúọmọ tọ́ka pé àwọn adarí lápapọ̀ ilẹ̀ wa ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ ìgbésẹ̀ láti ṣàrídájú pé wọ́n paná ìyanṣẹ́lódì ọ̀hún tí àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin ìpínlẹ̀ gùn lé nípa ṣíṣe ìfikùnlukùn pẹ̀lú alága ìgbìmọ̀ àwọn gómìnà nílẹ̀ Nàìjíríà. Gẹ́gẹ́ bó ṣe sọ, wọ́n ṣe ìpàdé yìí pẹ̀lú gómìnà Káyọ̀dé Fáyẹmí ti ìpínlẹ̀ Èkìtì gẹ́gẹ́ bí alága ìgbìmọ̀ àwọn gómìnà pẹ̀lú àwọn ìpàdé tí yóò tún máa tẹ̀lé láti lè ṣèrànwọ́ yanjú ìṣòro náà kí ẹ̀ka aṣòfin àti ẹ̀ka ètò ìdájọ́ ó lè dá dúró fẹsẹ̀ múlẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ ara wọn. Àwọn agbébọn tún ti dáná sun iléeṣẹ́ ọlọ́pàá mìíràn ní ìpínlẹ̀ Imo tó fi mọ́ àwọn ọkọ̀ iṣẹ́ 3 lẹ́yìn tí igbákejì ààrẹ ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n Yẹmí Ọ̀ṣínbàjò àti ọ̀gá àgbà àwọn ọlọ́pàá Mohammed Adamu tó ti kúrò nípò báyìí fi Òwèrì tí í ṣe olú ìlú ìpínlẹ̀ náà sílẹ̀. Èyí ló tẹ̀lé ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ tí àwọn agbébọn tí wọ́n kọlu ibùdó àtúnṣe ìwà ní ìlú Òwèrì àti olú iléeṣẹ́ ọlọ́pàá ìpínlẹ̀ Imo tí wọ́n sì dá àwọn tó wà láhàámọ́ tí wọ́n fẹ́rẹ̀ tó 2,000 sílẹ̀ pẹ̀lú bí wọ́n ṣe dáná sun àwọn ọkọ̀ tí ó lé ní 50. Àwọn agbébọn náà tún dáná sun ẹ̀ka iléeṣẹ́ ọlọ́pàá ti ìjọba ìbílẹ̀ Ehime Mbaino wọ́n ti tọ́ka sí àìmáa kàwé déédéé pẹ̀lú àìsí kóríyá látọ̀dọ̀ àwọn òbí àti olùkọ́ gẹ́gẹ́ bí kókó ohun tó ń pagidínà ìwé kíkà láàrin àwọn ọ̀dọ́. èyí lójú ìwòye àwọn èèyàn tó bá akọ̀ròyìn iléeṣẹ́ wa OGTV sọ̀rọ̀ lórí àkóbá tí ìwà àìmáa kàwé déédéé ń ṣe fún àwọn ọ̀dọ́. akọ̀ròyìn wa Adébọ́lá Ọ̀ṣọ́mọjì ló mú ìròyìn bọ̀. ẹ jẹ́ ká gbọ́ lẹ́nu Bọ́lájí Akínyẹmí.
àṣà kíka ìwé jẹ́ ọ̀nà tó dára tó sì jẹ́ ìgbésẹ̀ tí ènìyàn ń gbé tó fi ń ka ìwé, èyí tó ń ṣe déédéé gẹ́gẹ́ bí akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ láti ní òye iṣẹ́ náà àti láti ṣe dáadáa nínú ìdánwò rẹ̀. lára àwọn tí ikọ̀ akọ̀ròyìn iléeṣẹ́ OGTV fi ọ̀rọ̀ wá lẹ́nu wò sọ pé àìmá lè kàwé àwọn akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ló ń ṣàkóbá fún ìmọ̀ wọn. wọ́n ṣe àlàyé wípé kíka ìwé láti ọmọdé títí di àgbàlagbà dára púpọ̀. àṣà kíka ìwé náà máa ń fúnni ní òye kíkún. àrọwà tí wàá lọ sọ́dọ̀ àwọn òbí láti ran àwọn ọmọ wọn lọ́wọ́ láti lẹ́mìí àṣà kíka ìwé láti lè mú wọn ṣe rere lókè pẹ̀.
àjọ tó ń pèsè epo rọ̀bì nílẹ̀ wa Nàìjíríà ti buwọ́lu ìwé àdéhùn láti gbé iṣẹ́ àkànṣe ti iléeṣẹ́ ìfọpo ti Port Harcourt lé iléeṣẹ́ Technimont Spa lọ́wọ́ pẹ̀lú owó oníbílíọ̀nù kan ààbọ̀ dọ́là. àwọn igun tó jùmọ̀ ṣe àdéhùn yìí ló tún kéde pé iṣẹ́ àkànṣe náà ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ látàrí bí wọ́n ti ṣe buwọ́lu ìwé àdéhùn yìí ní olú iléeṣẹ́ àjọ náà tó wà nílùú Àbújá. níbi ètò fífi ọwọ́ sí ìwé àdéhùn ọ̀hún tó wáyé lórí ẹ̀rọ ayélujára, ọ̀gá àgbà àjọ NNPC Mele Kyari ṣe àlàyé pé láàrin àwọn iléeṣẹ́ ìfọpo Port Harcourt àti Technimont Spa nìkan ni àdéhùn náà wà. ó ní iṣẹ́ àkànṣe yìí ló wà fún pípèsè àti ríra àwọn irinṣẹ́ tí wọ́n nílò pẹ̀lú kíkọ́ àti títò àwọn ohun èlò fún àtúnṣe iléeṣẹ́ ìfọpo náà. ọ̀gá àgbà iléeṣẹ́ ìfọpo ti Port Harcourt Ahmed Dikko ló fọwọ́ sí ìwé ọ̀hún lórúkọ iléeṣẹ́ náà, nígbà tí aṣojú iléeṣẹ́ Technimont Spa David Pellizola fọwọ́ sí ìwé ọ̀hún fún iléeṣẹ́ onímọ̀ ẹ̀rọ ti ilẹ̀ Italy. wọ́n ti tẹnumọ́ ìdí tó fi yẹ kí àwọn ọmọlẹ́yìn Kristi ó jí gìrì sí ojúṣe wọn gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìmọ́lẹ̀ tí gbogbo ayé ń fẹ́ fún orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà láti ní àyípadà èyí tó ń pòǹgbẹ fún. ààrẹ àpapọ̀ fún ẹgbẹ́ ọmọlẹ́yìn Kristi nílẹ̀ Nàìjíríà tí a mọ̀ sí CAN, ẹni ọ̀wọ̀ ọ̀mọ̀wé Samson Ṣùpọ̀ Ayọ̀kúnlé ló sọ ọ̀rọ̀ yìí nígbà tó ń sọ̀rọ̀ lórí ipò tí orílẹ̀-èdè yìí wà níbi ètò ìdánilẹ́kọ̀ọ́ kan tí ìjọ Victory Life Bible Church ṣètò nílùú Abẹ́òkúta. akọ̀ròyìn wa Elizabeth Ẹ̀sán ló bá wọn pèsè síbẹ̀. abọ̀rẹ́ lẹ́nu Mọ́túnráyọ̀ Ṣọ́láńkẹ́.
ìpèníjà lẹ́ka ètò ààbò tó ń kojú orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà ló ti mú kí àwọn ọmọ orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà kí wọ́n máa kọminú kí wọ́n sì máa pòǹgbẹ fún àyípadà lẹ́ka gbogbo tó fi mọ́ ẹ̀ka ètò ọrọ̀ ajé. àwọn ẹgbẹ́ ẹlẹ́sìn pàápàá kò gbẹ́yìn nínú ìpolongo fún ọ̀nà àbáyọ sí ìpèníjà ètò ààbò bí ilé ìjọsìn Victory Life Bible Church Abẹ́òkúta ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn ṣe tọ́ka sí wípé orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà gbọ́dọ̀ wá ìyanjú sí ọ̀rọ̀ ìpèníjà ètò ààbò gẹ́gẹ́ bí ó ṣe jẹyọ nínú àwọn akitiyan tó wáyé fún ti àpéjọpọ̀ lọ́dọọdún èyí tí ìjọ náà ṣe fún ọdún yìí. nígbà tó ń sọ̀rọ̀ lórí àkórí ìpéjọpọ̀ ọ̀hún, ààrẹ àpapọ̀ ẹgbẹ́ àwọn ọmọlẹ́yìn Kristi lórílẹ̀‐èdè Nàìjíríà ẹni ọ̀wọ̀ ọ̀mọ̀wé Ṣùpọ̀ Ayọ̀kúnlé ké sí àwọn aṣáájú gbogbo wípé kí wọ́n mú ọ̀rọ̀ ìpèníjà ọ̀hún ní kókó kí wọ́n sì rí wípé wọ́n ṣe àyípadà tó yẹ lẹ́kùnrẹ́rẹ́. ọ̀mọ̀wé Ayọ̀kúnlé tún rọ àwọn ọmọlẹ́yìn Kristi láti rí wípé wọ́n fi àdúrà ran orílẹ̀-èdè yìí lọ́wọ́ àti wípé àdúrà náà ni wọ́n lè fi ṣe onígbọ̀wọ́ fún àwọn aṣáájú láti lè rí wípé wọ́n ṣe àṣeyọrí nínú ìlàkàkà wọn gbogbo. gẹ́gẹ́ bí ó ṣe sọ, orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà lè di ibùgbé ayọ̀ fún tẹrútọmọ láti gbé tí àwọn ọmọlẹ́yìn Kristi bá gbáradì láti kó ipa tó jọjú nínú ipò òṣèlú.
ẹgbẹ́ agbábọ́ọ̀lù AAS ti Ìjẹ̀bú Ìtẹ̀lé ti yege nínú ìdíje bọ́ọ̀lù aláfẹsẹ̀gbá ti Kàsálí, èyí tí ọmọọba Maruf Tèmítọ́pẹ́ Kàsálí gbé kalẹ̀ láti lè mú kí ìṣọ̀kan wà láàrin àwọn ọ̀dọ́ tó wà láwọn ìjọba ìbílẹ̀ ìlà oòrùn Ìjẹ̀bú, Ògùn Waterside àti àríwá Ìjẹ̀bú ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn. Àṣekágbá ìdíje bọ́ọ̀lù aláfẹsẹ̀gbá ọ̀hún ló wáyé ní ilé ẹ̀kọ́ St. John Community Primary, Ìjẹ̀bú Ìtẹ̀lé. Akọ̀ròyìn wa Gbénga Adékọ̀yà ló mú ìròyìn bọ̀, ẹ gbọ́ lẹ́nu Bọ́lájí Akínyẹmí.
Ọdún 1898 ni wọ́n ṣe ìdásílẹ̀ ilé ẹ̀kọ́ St. John Community Primary School Ìjẹ̀bú Ìtẹ̀lé tó jẹ́ ọ̀kan lára ilé ẹ̀kọ́ alákọ̀ọ́bẹ̀rẹ̀ tó ti pẹ́ tí wọ́n ti ṣe ìdásílẹ̀ rẹ̀ nílẹ̀ Nàìjíríà. Fọ́fọ́fọ́ ni ilé ẹ̀kọ́ náà kún fún ọ̀gọ̀rọ̀ àwọn ènìyàn tí wọ́n tún yá jáde fún àṣekágbá ìdíje líìgì bọ́ọ̀lù aláfẹsẹ̀gbá èyí tí àjọ ọmọọba Moruf Tèmítọ́pẹ́ Kàsálí ṣètò rẹ̀, àjọ tí kìí ṣe tìjọba tó ń rọ̀ àwọn ọ̀dọ́ lágbára. Ayò kan ṣoṣo tí wọ́n gbá wọlé ló mú ìyàtọ̀ fojú hàn lẹ́yìn ìdárayá èyí tí ìdíje àṣekágbá fi wáyé láàrin ẹgbẹ́ agbábọ́ọ̀lù AAS ti Ìjẹ̀bú Ìtẹ̀lé ní ìlà oòrùn Ìjẹ̀bú àti ẹgbẹ́ agbábọ́ọ̀lù Ìlúṣin ní Ògùn Waterside. Ariwo ayọ̀ ta lẹ́yìn tó kù díẹ̀ kí ìdíje náà parí. Ẹni tó ṣe agbátẹrù ìdíje ọ̀hún, Moruf Tèmítọ́pẹ́ Kàsálí, sọ̀rọ̀ ìwúrí nípa ìdíje ọ̀hún. Móyè Gẹ̀sọ̀ Ìjẹ̀bú Ìtẹ̀lé, ọba Muftau Kàsálí pẹ̀lú àwọn ọba yòókù tó fi mọ́ lára àwọn lókọ tó wà níbi ayẹyẹ náà kan sára sí àtinúdá ọ̀hún. Wọ́n ní yóò kó ipa tó jọjú nínú ríró ìṣọ̀kan láàrin àwọn ọ̀dọ́ lágbára sí lágbègbè náà.
tó kí a tó mẹ́nu ró lórí ẹ̀kúnrẹ́rẹ́ ìròyìn ti àṣálẹ́ òní, ẹ jẹ́ kí a ṣí ara wa níyè pé ẹni tí yóò jẹ́ aṣíwájú gbọ́dọ̀ máa ní ìmọ̀ kún ìmọ̀ ní ìgbà gbogbo kí ó má bàa di èrò ẹ̀yìn. Torí náà gbìyànjú láti máa wá ìmọ̀ sí, torí pé orí ló mọ ibi tí ẹsẹ̀ ń rè. Yóò dára, kò ní bàjẹ́ o. Kí ẹ̀kúnrẹ́rẹ́ ìròyìn wa ti àṣálẹ́ òní tó wá sópin, ẹ jẹ́ ká tún wo àwọn kókó tó wà nínú ìròyìn náà. A ti sọ fún yín wípé igbákejì ààrẹ ilẹ̀ wa ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n Yẹmí Ọ̀ṣínbàjò ti ṣe adelé ọ̀gá àgbà pátá tí wọ́n ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ yàn fún iléeṣẹ́ ọlọ́pàá ilẹ̀ wa Usman Alkali Baba lọ́ṣọ̀ọ́. Gómìnà ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn Ọmọọba Dàpọ̀ Abíọ́dún ti ìpilẹ̀ ṣíde ètò ìpàtẹ ọjà ti Gateway World Trade Fair ìkẹwàá irú rẹ̀. Bákan náà ni ẹ ti rí gbọ́ pé ikọ̀ amúṣẹ́ṣe tí iléeṣẹ́ ààrẹ gbé kalẹ̀ lórí ọ̀rọ̀ COVID-19 ni yóò máa ṣiṣẹ́ báyìí gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìgbìmọ̀ tí yóò paná COVID-19 run pátápátá lórílẹ̀-èdè yìí. Wọ́n ti gbé iṣẹ́ àtúnṣe ilé ìfọpo tó wà ní Port Harcourt lé agbaṣẹ́ṣe lọ́wọ́ pẹ̀lú owó oní bílíọ̀nù $1.5. Bákan náà ni ẹ ti rí gbọ́ pé àjọ tó ń gbógun ti àṣìlò oògùn olóró ti rọ́wọ́ tó àwọn afurasí méjì kan pẹ̀lú òbítíbitì ẹrù igbó. Ǹjẹ́ ibi la rí mọ́ lórí ẹ̀kúnrẹ́rẹ́ ìròyìn wa fún ti àṣálẹ́ òní? Ìyókù tún di ọ̀la láṣẹ Ìdùmarè. Títí wá di ìgbà náà, mo ṣe ládùúrà pé oorun rẹ̀ la ó sùn, ayé la máa jí sí. Ó dàárọ̀.
Imam Abdulatif Adẹ́rìndé ẹkú iṣẹ́ takuntakun. Al-Qur'an al-Hakim ètò tó gbà yìí gidi. Imam Abdulatif Abdulaziz ẹkú iṣẹ́ Ọlọ́run. Al-Qur'an al-Hakim ètò tó gbà yìí gidi. Imam Abdulatif Ádámọ̀ ẹ̀mọ̀mọ́ kú ètò. Al-Qur'an al-Hakim.
Ètò yín ètò alálùbáríkà, ètò tí ń kọ́ni lọ́gbọ́n àti òye nínú ẹ̀sìn Islam. Al-Qur'an al-Hakim yóò máa wáyé nílé iṣẹ́ OGTV nínú oṣù Ramadan. Yóò máa wáyé ní dédé agogo 4:30 sí 5 ìdájí. onígbọ̀wọ́ ètò náà ni alhaji engineer tajudeen adisa olórí àránṣẹ́ àdínì ti ìlú ẹ̀gbá. ẹ kú ojú lọ́nà o. Ramadan Kareem.
onímọ́tò rọra sáré o onímọ́tò rọra ní kọ́nà yẹn.
Yorùbá bọ̀ wọ́n ní ìkánjú òun pẹ̀lẹ́ ọgbọ́gba ni àsúré tètè òsèré kọjá ilé arìnrìngbẹ̀rẹ̀ òní sùn sọ́nà òrèrè òní jìn kó mọ̀ ní pẹ̀kun ẹ̀ dákun ẹ̀ jẹ́ kí gbogbo kó wá tó ń wakọ̀ lójú pópónà gbogbo tí ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn ti ń ṣe ọ̀nà lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ báyìí ó ṣe pẹ̀lẹ́ o pàápàá jùlọ láti interchange Ṣàgámù sábẹ́òkúta àtòjú ọ̀nà Ìjẹ̀bú Òde sẹ́pẹ́ àti gbogbo ojú pópónà míì tíjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn ń ṣe lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ torí bí iṣẹ́ àkànṣe ojú pópónà bá ń lọ lọ́wọ́ àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ ojú pópónà ó di apá kan wọ́n sì ṣe apá kan sílẹ̀ fún awakọ̀ tó ń lọ àti èyí tó ń bọ̀ láti lò ìṣe ló wáyé ká fi sùúrù gba ọ̀nà tóóró eléyìí tí wọ́n bá ṣí sílẹ̀ fún wa ká má sáré láti ya ọkọ̀ tó wà níwájú wa sílẹ̀ lọ́nà èyí tó lè fa jàǹbá fọ́lọ́kọ̀ tó kù kárí wípé à ń tẹ̀lé gbogbo àmì ìkìlọ̀ tó wà láwọn ojú ọ̀nà wọ̀nyí tí ẹ bá wa kọ̀ tí ikún sí wọn ẹ ó fi mú kàtà òfin o torí àwọn agbófinró ti wà lójú ọ̀nà kòkòkò báyìí láàrán fa àdìtí ẹ ṣe pẹ̀lẹ́ lójú ọ̀nà interchange Ṣàgámù sábẹ́òkúta àti ní gbogbo ọ̀nà tí àtúnṣe ti ń lọ lọ́wọ́ ìgbéga ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn àjọṣe wa ni o.
àjọ tó ń mójútó ètò ilé gbígbé ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn ń fi àsìkò yìí kéde fún gbogbo akópa nínú ètò ilé alábọ́dé ti ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn lábẹ́ ìṣàkóso ọmọbadàpọ̀ Abíọ́dún èyí tí wọ́n ń kọ́ ní agboolé Kọ́bapẹ́ láti wá gba ìwé ìpèsè ilé ní iléeṣẹ́ tó ń mójútó ètò ilé gbígbé ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn ní block C Òkèmọ̀sán nílùú Abẹ́òkúta. àǹfààní yìí wà fún gbogbo akópa tó ti dá fọ́ọ̀mù rẹ̀ padà tó sì ti farajìn pẹ̀lú owó rẹ̀ nínú ètò náà. fún ìbéèrè sí ẹ lè pe Olúwatósìn Dàda sí orí ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ yìí 08039494256. olùkéde àjọ tó ń mójútó ètò ilé gbígbé ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn.
Happy birthday.
The Committee of Friends at Home and Diaspora congratulate our amiable and industrious brother, Mr. Adeolu Adedokun, alias Ade Eriko, on his 60th birthday anniversary on Tuesday, April 6, 2021. We pray you will live longer than your forefathers, Igba Odun Odunkon. The Thanksgiving service will take place on Sunday, April 11th, 2021, at God Excellence Praise and Prayer Ministry, number 6 at Demola Abiola Street, Alakuko, Lagos State, at 8 a.m. Happy birthday and many happy returns. Announcer, Committee of Friends.
Yes, sir!
Yabasira, now your new shop be this.
Yes, sir. Now my new shop be this.
This one a mega upgrade be this girl.
Now so, as that time they upgrade their customers. This Easter season, I say make me to shock my customer with mega upgrade.
That time don't they do upgrade again?
Yes, sir.
For this Easter, pay 2 months for Nova Bouquet. StarTimes go upgrade you, go basic or smart bouquet. Pay 2 months for basic or smart bouquet. StarTimes go upgrade you, go classic or super bouquet. Pay 2 months for classic or super bouquet. You go watch extra 10 days free. You fit be one of the lucky customers wey go get Easter hamper from StarTimes for your domot. E never finish yo. This Easter, StarTimes don reduce the decoder price from 9,400 naira to 7,400 naira for DTT and from 13,200 naira to 11,200 naira for DTH. This promo na from March 1 go reach April 30, 2021. Go recharge, make you enjoy better entertainment this Easter. Terms and conditions dey sha. StarTimes, enjoy digital.
He wins at 1xBet.
What about you?
They win with 1xBet.
What about you?
He wins at 1xBet.
What about you?
He wins at 1xBet.
What about you?
1xBet, bookmaker company.
I protect you, you protect me.
I protect you,
You protect me. I protect you.
you protect me.
The face mask has dual purpose. First, it stops you from infecting the other person by catching your droplets. and it stops you from infecting yourself by touching your eyes, mouth, and nose. I protect you and you protect me. Wear your face mask.
This message was brought to you by the Ogun State Government.
People living in Africa, especially women and girls, are experiencing difficulties in accessing healthcare due to the COVID-19 pandemic. We've had stories that more women are giving birth at home with the assistance of relatives and birth attendants, since most hospitals are now focused on COVID-19. So how does this affect reproductive and maternal health in Africa? Should governments include these in their COVID-19 response, and how can this problem be resolved? This is The Breakdown, BBC Africa's COVID-19 special program, helping you make sense of the crisis. My name is Ian Ofula. Let's get started. As Africa battles the COVID-19 pandemic, another health crisis is looming. Millions of Africans rely on public health institutions for sexual and reproductive health services.
No one was ready for a pandemic, and so nobody told them what they ought to do. And when the pandemic started, everything else was shifted in the public health space. Governments shifted their money, their focus, their resources, their health workers to COVID response. What did that mean? That meant that anything reproductive health, sexual reproductive health was left at the back burner. And we all know that pandemics don't stop pregnancies from happening, or pregnancies and issues concerning sexual reproductive health do not stop with pandemics. And so we are still witnessing the results of that misprioritization of sexual reproductive health needs for women and girls across the continent.
Now, the effects of closing schools in 2020 are beginning to show. Let's take a look at Kenya, for instance. Available data shows that there was a 40% increase in teenage pregnancies in the first 3 months of the country's national lockdown. So what happens to the young mothers? Do they return to school after giving birth?
It is 11 a.m., time for a short break at Serene Haven School. Typically, students would use this time to snack, refresh, and enjoy some sunshine. But this is not the case here, because this is not an ordinary school. It is a school for teenage mothers.
I have a 4-month-old child. I nurse and change him during break time. During lunchtime, you have to choose between eating first or bathing the baby. There is usually hot water, so I usually bath him first, then eat as I nurse him. Then I leave him with the matron and go back to class. There is a big difference. Sometimes when in class, you can hear the baby crying, and that makes you lose concentration.
There are 19 teenagers in this institution who either got pregnant or became mothers during the lockdown in Kenya that resulted in closure of schools for 9 months. For many teenagers here, this is a second chance for better life and better decisions.
A report by World Vision estimated that 1 million girls in sub-Saharan Africa were at risk of dropping out of school in 2021 due to early pregnancy. In Kenya, where an estimated 13,000 girls drop out of school each year due to early pregnancy, schools are obliged to accept pregnant girls, but many victims of early pregnancy opt out because of stigma, discrimination, and challenges of childcare.
We just started the rescue center first, and now it grew. Then last year, now we decided, towards the end of last year, we decided now that these girls will need to go back to school, and they have already, some of them have already delivered, others are pregnant. So we kept asking ourselves, will they fit in a normal school setup? You know, where maybe there are 500 students and you are the only person who is pregnant, or you are the only person who is breastfeeding, you see. So we sought to address the issue of stigma and also the issue of separating the baby and the mother.
If a girl comes here stressed because maybe they have been raped or issues like that, we encourage her. You tell her that you too have a child and you are okay. Now that I have a chance, I want to be a fashion designer.
This is the same case in many African countries where there are policies that allow pregnant girls to continue with education. But in other countries like Tanzania, Togo, and Equatorial Guinea, where the laws expel and ban pregnant girls from attending school, the teenagers have no choice. According to the World Vision report, prolonged closure of schools, lack of sex education, sex predators, and limited access to health services are the main contributors to the crisis.
When you got into a relationship with the father of your child, did you know about different methods of contraceptive, protecting yourselves from getting pregnant?
Some of the girls that I went to school with previously had been put on family planning by their parents. For you to be put on family planning, you must be accompanied by a parent. But my mother would never agree to those things.
Do you offer sex education and just the knowledge about contraceptives?
Yeah. We are seeking to bring out a complete woman. Yeah. That's the way we'd call her. Because you see now she already has a child. And we don't want her to go back there. Maybe she's 15, 16. We don't want her to go back out there, maybe during school holidays, and go get pregnant again. I feel if these girls were equipped with that knowledge right from the beginning, these pregnancies would have been avoided. Teenage pregnancies have been there.
Yes.
But I would say the lockdown really made it worse.
Teenage pregnancy during a health crisis is not a new phenomenon. Let me take you back to the Ebola outbreak between the years 2014 and 2016. More than 14,000 teenage girls in Sierra Leone became pregnant, including 11,000 who were in school prior to the outbreak. Policymakers have been urged to ensure that girls are not discouraged from returning to school by being flexible in their approach to education and make it easy for pregnant girls and young mothers to complete their education.
So we're actually going to see a situation where we have still the imbalances, the gender inequalities and inequities that we still see, where the boy child and the girl child are not at par. And of course, what are we going to see there? What I've said, the vicious cycle of poverty at the end of the day. And the nations are going to spend more. Because if you educate to empower, then that means I can contribute to the national economy. If I am disempowered because I did not get education, then you are going to take care of me throughout my life.
Joining me right now from Washington is Beth Schlachter, the Executive Director of FP 2020. Thank you very much, Beth, for joining us. Now, would you say there is a direct relation between COVID-19 and to the increase of contraceptive use across Africa?
So there's been a growing increase of contraceptive use across Africa over the past decade. Some of that was accelerated by the partnership and by countries in Africa who've made their own commitments to really double down on dealing with systemic and cultural and social issues that had impeded access to contraception. So when COVID hit, there were already stronger plans, stronger connections across the family planning sector with health providers, with people in communities, in order to keep that contraceptive use going. I wouldn't say that contraceptive use really increased as a result of COVID, but I would say that people found ways to work with COVID restrictions to maintain contraceptive access. It didn't stay stable throughout the entire COVID period, for sure, especially at first when there were shortages of commodities, when we couldn't get things through into countries themselves because of shipping problems, and also because of lockdowns, which have had a severe impact on a range of services with regard to health.
Does it concern you that at the same time we're also seeing an increase in teen pregnancies across the continent, especially during the pandemic period?
Yeah, absolutely. Teenage pregnancies remain a challenge globally. So we're trying to understand what's really going on within that. It seems really clear, though, when you talk to women and girls, when you talk to people in communities, lockdowns have had an impact on the lives of women and girls. There's been a lack of access to school, for example. We also know that women or girls who are in vulnerable situations are more available for predatory sexual behavior from neighbors, even from some family members. So being in school provides girls both access to a better future for themselves, but also a safer space where that kind of behavior is really contained.
So how critical is sexual and reproductive health education and awareness to especially teenagers here?
It's absolutely critical. And we often see a disconnect between parents who are expecting schools to provide that education and schools who are expecting parents to provide that education. It can be an uncomfortable conversation for any parent to have with their child. But there is a gap there. And if girls and boys don't understand their biology, what sexual behavior means, how to keep themselves safe from unintended pregnancy and from sexually transmitted disease, then their ability to behave in their own best interest, to behave responsibly, really diminishes.
Okay, and finally, Beth, how do we ensure that the upward trajectory and the increase in contraceptive use actually remains the same and even becomes better in future?
A lot of countries, as I said, have been working on those supply chain issues. But where we see the constraint in growth is really on that cultural, on that social side. Because while we look at access to contraception through health systems, through pharmacies, and those are important, where we see that constraint is when there's stigma for girls to use contraception, when the culture themselves encourages adolescent marriage.
All right. Thank you very much, Beth, for your time. Now, adolescent mothers are reported to shy away from health facilities because of stigma and pandemic-related fears. Majority do not attend antenatal care and tend to wait until the last trimester of their pregnancy. The World Health Organization says complications during pregnancy and childbirth are the leading cause of death for girls aged 15 to 19 years globally. With resources being stretched to support the COVID-19 response, the safety of mothers and newborns could be compromised. Right, Fatia?
Absolutely, Ian. You see, the first 28 days of your life as a newborn baby are the most critical yet very delicate. A 2017 report by UNICEF indicates that 60 million children will die before their 5th birthday due to risk of infectious diseases, complications linked to preterm birth during labor and childbirth. According to the report, most newborn deaths occurred in 2 regions, Sub-Saharan Africa and Southern Asia. So, does COVID-19 pose any danger to a newborn baby? Well, scientists say the pandemic poses a lower risk to a newborn baby, and there is no evidence directly linking any infant deaths to COVID-19. And if they do contract the virus, the infections are mostly asymptomatic. So, does the pandemic pose any risk to an infant's survival, you may ask? Some of these factors include disruptions in medical supply chain for countries that are heavily reliant on imports, medical supplies, and equipment, decline in utilization and provision of health services due to reallocation of resources to fight COVID-19. According to an analysis of data from Sierra Leone's Health Management Information System, such factors contributed to over 3,600 maternal and neonatal deaths in Sierra Leone. So, what was the real impact of COVID-19 to infants in the continent?
What we're seeing is that we know very well when a teenage girl gets pregnant, our body is not ripe to carry that pregnancy. And so most of them will end up with disabilities like fistula when they get to give birth. Most of them will get maybe abnormalities, some of them will get obstructed labor, and then some of them, because we know that most of deaths that occur among mothers, young mothers suffer more than mothers who are mature enough. And what that means that then we have consequences of either death or disability, but also the children who are born of these young girls and mothers never actually live to their 5th birthday.
According to a report done by UNICEF, 63% of the 77 countries surveyed reported disruptions to pregnancy-related checkups as a result of the pandemic, while 59% reported disturbances to postnatal care. So what can we learn from the Ebola crisis and infant mortality? What reforms can be done to avoid further loss of mother and child during a health crisis?
Outreach, where nurses or midwives go from home to homes to visit these pregnant women. Because we know that with this COVID-19 or with this virus, it moves when people move. So what happens is when these pregnant women come for antenatal, it poses more risk on them. So because we have the outreach program already available, why don't we strengthen them? Because nurses and midwives or health workers can take more of themselves than mothers. Health workers move towards them. When we visit them in their various homes, I think it becomes easier for the virus to go down. It becomes easier for us to also care for them more. The use of smartphones or the use of technology is becoming big. So one thing I think we can also do is, why don't we do more of online education for these women? We have to strengthen their education.
Time now for a break. When we come back, we hear from a mother in South Africa about the challenges of nursing a pregnancy and giving birth during a pandemic. This is The Breakdown, BBC Africa's COVID-19 special program, helping you make sense of the crisis. The COVID-19 pandemic has drastically changed our lives, and more so for expectant mothers. It has changed how they experience pregnancy, birth, and even motherhood. Here's the story of a young mother in South Africa who says no amount of planning could have prepared her for the COVID-19 pandemic and what it's like giving birth in a socially distant world.
Health experts all over the world have been pointing out the challenges to accessing reproductive health services. Lockdowns, fears of contracting the virus, loss of income were all exacerbated. Such was the case for 27-year-old Tembani Maluleka in South Africa.
Going into the lockdown, it was very difficult with regards to finances. My husband was at home and he was not working. It was difficult to get money for food, even for the kids.
This was just the beginning. She's a new mom whose baby came prematurely at 6 months, and she had trouble finding transport.
During the lockdown, transport was a problem because most taxis run from 5 to 9 in the morning and later on from 5 p.m. till about 7. By the time I was about to give birth, there was no transport at all.
With her complications and the situation, she had no choice but to give birth at home.
If my neighbors did not come by the time, I think my baby would have died inside of me. I feel like I would have died as well because of the situation. I don't think I would have been able to walk all the way to the clinic with the way I was feeling.
In addition to lack of access, there was also the fear of contracting the virus, which kept a lot of people from making and keeping prenatal appointments.
So at the beginning of the pandemic, women were very fearful of coming to the clinics, of going to the hospitals, afraid that they would find infected people there who would infect them. In terms of the midwives, there was also that fear that you need to look after this woman, but what if she's infected with the virus? You still have to look after her.
This hesitancy towards public institutions meant that more women turned to the private sector and independent midwives.
I've also been in contact with a lot of independent midwives who have informed me that their numbers increased to such an extent a lot of women would arrive even the day before the birth with a couple of thousand of rand. They were supposed to deliver in the public sector, and then they would rather come to the midwife. And they felt safer because it's one-to-one care and there were not a large amount of women queuing up for care.
What should expectant women look out for during the course of their pregnancy?
Start early. I know that there are cultural practices out there to hide our pregnancies, but it's so important to actually go for an early ultrasound scan as early as 3 months of pregnancy. If you are worried about something, go and seek your healthcare provider's advice today. Don't wait until tomorrow, and tomorrow may be too late.
While closing of schools may have contributed to the spike in teen pregnancies, a recent study by experts on the early indirect impact of the pandemic on reproductive health across Africa shows that use of contraceptives among young women and girls has increased to levels never witnessed before.
A look at the bustling, the beautiful, the growing cityscapes of African cities like the one behind me leaves you in awe, thinking, wow, that must have taken a lot of planning. And look at it. Of course it did. It's beautiful. Well, it's not just city planning where we're excelling at. Oh, no. Family planning as well, and contraceptives, that's the other place where we're prospering, which is where this not so seamless segue takes us. As of July 2020, the number of users of modern contraceptive methods had grown by 66% since 2012, from 40 million to over 66 million women and girls. It's even more laudable in Eastern and Southern Africa, where that number of modern contraceptive users had grown by 70%. Now, according to data, Mozambique is the fastest growing country when it comes to the uptake of the use of modern contraceptive methods, a testament to the commitment of government and partners to supplying all women, including adolescents, with a range of contraceptive choices. Today, 2.7 million women and girls are using a modern method of contraception in Mozambique, and as a result of that, more than 991,000 unintended pregnancies have been prevented. Now, over in the West, in Nigeria, because of the use of modern contraceptive methods, about 1.9 million unintended pregnancies were prevented, which also means that 705,000 unsafe abortions and 13,000 maternal deaths were averted last year alone. Partners in countries around the world responded rapidly to COVID-19 and the threat that it posed for decades of women's progress. For most governments, a critical first step was the issuance of guidelines clearly designating family planning as an essential service. In Nigeria, for example, the Minister of Health issued a nationwide statement saying that the lockdown should not be allowed to curtail the delivery of family planning services. And over in the East, Kenya was one of the very first countries in Africa to develop COVID-19 guidelines on reproductive health, issuing a guidance document in April 2020 with practical recommendations for the continuation of reproductive, maternal, newborn, and family planning services during the pandemic.
And now to our regular segment, Ask the Doctor, where we put questions asked by our audiences on various BBC platforms to Dr. Nzisa Liku, a public health specialist. The first question: are pregnant women at higher risks of getting infected with COVID-19?
Pregnant women or women who have recently been pregnant have been found to have an increased risk of severe disease if they get COVID-19. These women are also at a risk of having preterm births in case they are infected with COVID-19. These risks are also increased if these women are overweight or have other health conditions such as diabetes or hypertension.
Is COVID-19 sexually transmitted?
COVID-19 is a respiratory disease that is transmitted when someone who is infected coughs or sneezes, producing droplets that are then inhaled by someone else. It is not a sexually transmitted disease. However, this disease can also be transmitted due to close contact that is seen during sexual intercourse.
Can pregnant women with COVID-19 give birth through cesarean section?
If there's an indication for cesarean section other than COVID-19, people who are pregnant should receive a cesarean section. A study in Spain, however, suggested that the women who had COVID-19 and had normal deliveries wound up with much fewer complications than those who had a cesarean section delivery. For this reason, COVID-19 is not considered an indication for cesarean section.
Does COVID-19 affect male fertility?
There is currently not enough information around this question. Some studies have indicated that SARS-CoV-2 virus may affect the male fertility organs a lot more because these areas tend to have an increase in the receptors that this virus binds to. However, more studies are required for a conclusion on this question.
And finally, can COVID-19 vaccines affect female fertility?
There have been numerous claims on social media that the COVID-19 vaccine can affect fertility both in males and females. This, however, is an unfounded claim, and there is currently no evidence to support this.
Well, this is the end of the breakdown this week, but the conversation should not end here. Talk to us online via BBC social media platforms and at Ian_Fuller. As always, we'll leave you with an exciting video. By the way, what's 78,000 times 550? Well, South Africa's 10-year-old genius Sibale Zwane can work that out for you without actually using a calculator. Take a look.
99,000 times 600.
59,400,000.
Like a...
Anyone who knows the answer? Spartle? 540.
250 times 11.
2,750.
800 plus 600 plus 750.
2,150.
4,500 plus 800 plus 2.
5,302.
78,000 times 550.
42,900,000.
Orúkọ mi ni Olúwaṣeun Cyril Owóẹ̀yẹ láti iléeṣẹ́ Spectral Industries tó kalẹ̀ sí oko ọba Agége ní ìlú Èkó. A wá sí ìpàtẹ 10th Gateway International Trade Fair 2021 tí ó bẹ̀rẹ̀ ní 2nd of April ní oṣù tí a wà yìí. A wá láti wá bá gbogbo àwọn ènìyàn wa sọ̀rọ̀ ní ìlú Abẹ́òkúta àti ní gbogbo Ògùn State láti wá fi gbogbo àwọn ọjà táwa ń tà tó ṣe wọ́n láǹfààní jẹ́ pé tó máa darapọ̀ mọ́ wa ó máa ṣe àǹfààní tó pọ̀. A ní cocoa powder yìí a ní size mẹ́ta eléyìí 250 grams eléyìí tó jẹ́ alágolo yìí eléyìí tó jẹ́ onípálí 250 grams náà ni eléyìí tó jẹ́ onísàṣẹ́tì yìí 100 grams ni. Cocoa tẹ́rì yìí ó ṣe àǹfààní tó pọ̀ ní àgọ́ ara àwa ènìyàn 100% cocoa òun la fi ṣe. A tún ní ojú kejì ẹ̀ tó jẹ́ suko cocoa powder drink ó ti wà láti ọjọ́ tó ti pẹ́ kò ṣe àjòjì sí gbogbo àwọn ènìyàn wa ní Abẹ́òkúta àti ní Ògùn State. Tẹ́ bá ti bù sínú omi tó wọ́ lọ́wọ́rọ́wọ́ kẹ́yìn ìròpọ̀ kẹ́sì máa mú ni ó máa ń jẹ́ kára balẹ̀. A tún wá ní sáìzì míì eléyìí tó jẹ́ sachet. A rò yín pé ká ṣe eléyìí torí pé gbogbo àkó lè kárí gbogbo àwọn ènìyàn wa. Iye kékeré iye kínkínní tí ò tó nǹkan kan òun lè máa ra eléyìí nínú ọjà so ó máa lè rọ̀ wá lọ́rùn láti pé kí a máa mú ní ìgbà dé ìgbà. Bó ṣe wà yìí gbogbo nǹkan mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta ló ti pé sínú ẹ̀ milk ti wà ń bẹ̀ ṣúgà ti wà ń bẹ̀ kòkó náà ti wà ń bẹ̀ kẹ́kàn gbómi tó lọ́wọ́rọ́wọ́ kalẹ̀ kẹ́yìn sì máa mú. A tún wá ní eléyìí tó jẹ́ oúnjẹ tá à ń pè ní high fibre meal. High fibre meal yìí ó rọrùn fún gbogbo wa láti pé ká máa rò ní ìgbà dé ìgbà kò la wàhálà lọ kò mú wàhálà lọ́wọ́ rárá. Tẹ́ bá ti gbómi kaná tó bá ti hó ìwọ̀n eléyìí tẹ́ fẹ́ jẹ kẹ́ dà sínú ẹ̀ kẹ́ rò ó láàárín ìṣẹ́jú péréte ó ti ṣetán láti pé kẹ́ jẹ. kò máa ń jẹ́ kí ara wúwo ó máa ń jẹ́ kí ara fúyẹ́ ni high fibre wa tó jẹ́ oúnjẹ wa nìyẹn. eléyìí tó wá ṣe gbòógì tí mo máa ń pariwo sí gbogbo àwọn ènìyàn àwọn eléyìí tó ń ṣe òwò búrẹ́dì tó ń ṣe òwò meat pie donut káàkiri ọ̀nà míì wà ọ̀nà míì lélẹ́yìí láti gbé kẹ́ jẹ èrè lórí èrè sobek flour wà yìí tẹ́ bá ti fi sínú wheat flour yín ó máa jẹ́ kí búrẹ́dì yín kó pọ̀ sí ju tàtẹ̀yìnwá lọ á jẹ́ kó wá tún ní ọ̀rìn lọ́wọ́ kó wúwo díẹ̀ sí ju tàtẹ̀yìnwá lọ gbogbo àwọn ọjà wa yìí òun la kó wá sí ibi trade fair ìpàtẹ ta wà yìí àwa rọ gbogbo àwọn ènìyàn wa kẹ́ darapọ̀ mọ́ wa ń bì nítorí pé à ń retí àwọn èèyàn tó fẹ́ bá wa dòwò pọ̀ torí pé a wà ní trade fair ńsìn tẹ́ bá bá ra ọjà wa a ní àwọn àǹfààní tó pọ̀ ní ìsìn nígbà tá a wà ní trade fair yìí tó yàtọ̀ sí ti tẹ́ bá wá rà á nígbà tá a bá ti kúrò ní trade fair so tẹ́ bá darapọ̀ mọ́ wa ẹ máa jàǹfààní tó pọ̀ láti pé kí ẹ fi ra ọjà wa ẹ lè pè wá sí orí àwọn nọ́mbà wa tó wà lórí tẹlifíṣàn yìí a kalẹ̀ sí inú trade fair tẹ́ bá ti wọlé sí entrance gate trade fair by your left hand side tẹ́ bá ti yí sí left yẹn company tẹ́ máa wò òun ni Spectral Industries ibẹ̀ ni a gbé kalẹ̀ sí lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí orúkọ mi ni Olúwaṣeun Cyril Owóẹ̀yẹ láti iléeṣẹ́ Spectral Industries Limited ní ìlú Èkó àdírẹ́sì wa ní ìlú Èkó ní #1 plot 1 Suko Road Okoba Agege Lagos.
Like the proverbial apple that never falls far from the tree. So is the behavior of an individual. If to rest, it's never far from the spirit.
Pretty. Thank you. Thank you.
If I don't give you, who am I going to give?
Thank you, honey.
Hello. Sophie. Good evening.
I'm not feeling any kudo.
You don't even need to tell me.
Sam, that woman, Wikoro, you see my face. He beat Anthony Joshua, he punched me there.
Omo, the woman deal with you. Sorry, but you said the woman wicked. How she say wicked? Now the way to your mouth bring on top you be this. I not tell you. You talk. Everybody you see, you insult.
Tracy's.
This one that you are yawning like this. What's the problem? You want to swallow me? Very tired.
Even the price of 404 has gone up. I don't know what this government is turning into.
Which one is 404 again? Don't tell me you want to go into transport business. Don't even tell me you want to go into transport. You don't know, you want to tell me you don't know the meaning of 404. Oh. Sorry. But you should know now that I'm not in the caliber of people, your people now one at the top of those kind of things. So how am I supposed to know now? You do like for a past ride.
Wait. What is in your hand?
What does it look like?
Is that bread?
It's foam.
Where did you get it? I don't want the whole of this estate and I cannot find to buy. Where did you get this one?
Where did I get it? Hey, this bread, wait, me too. I've walked the whole of the estate. And not, you know I can walk. I can walk. You know now. I walked through and me said no see. But now later I can't see one woman. I be like, she's new for this estate. She's new for this estate.
Where?
She's new for this estate. But mind you, if your mind did this bread, this bread not go reach only me. Talk less of say me and you go share.
God with this.
Love is sharing, not near this one. No.
That is what you want to say. Look at you, stingy income.
Ekweyon.
What?
Don't insult me, oh. Don't insult me. If you are hungry to eat bread, go to T Junction and buy your own. I did not have your promise to this.
Which T Junction? Wait. That one close to the organizer. That junction.
Ask your ancestors.
Okay. Wait for me, I'm going to get my bread. I get money. Think I'm like you. Wait, don't touch anything in my shop.
This is a good girl bread. We should never go reach up there. I can also wash up my ration. You're bad here.
The chair on this side. Oh, thank you.
Sophie, you're here.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, honey, I'll be coming in late today, so don't bother preparing dinner for me.
And when are you likely to come back?
I have a meeting for 6 p.m. and it will run for a few hours. Say like 11 or thereabouts. That's why I said you shouldn't do dinner. I would have had something to eat on my way.
Is she... Has the car been washed? I think I should...
The car is neatly washed and it's in good condition, ready to go. Let's get going before we run into traffic.
Okay, sir.
Take care.
Have a nice day. would Priye stoop so low as to dating a copper? Believe me, Ada, it will not work. It won't work. Believe me. No, you had better call your in-law to order. Call him to order. Hey, before something goes wrong, call him to order. Trust me, if he tries what he told me he was going to do this evening, if he comes back home late like he said he would, because I know he's a man of his words, and if he does, believe me, Ada, this house would boil. This house would be on fire, and you know it's something I can do. You know it's something I can do, Ada. I have heard. Yeah, I've heard you. Sir, please forgive me. As what I'm about to say may sound offensive.
Does it have to do with my wife?
How do you know, sir?
Isn't it obvious? The way she makes her presence felt every morning when you come around.
Not just that, sir. The way those eyes bore a deep hole on me, she feels like tearing me into pieces.
And the least you can do is to stare.
But sir, I don't want to create or cause any friction between you and your wife. I can always find my way to work.
No, nonsense. And for what?
For there to be peace in your house. I know she must have asked you questions about me, or things like that.
Sophie, our jealousies are based on... They are baseless really for me. What is wrong in a man lifting a lady? There's nothing wrong in it. See, let's leave her with our jealousy, because for me, like I told you, they are baseless. So I need her to relax. I need her to really relax.
But sir, what if she doesn't?
Then she has to deal with it. She has to deal with it. There's nothing else I can do.
You think so?
Yeah, I know so. You just relax. It's no problem.
Guy, are you saying that this woman used to come here every morning?
She does. She comes here like every morning. Sometimes she's the one that wakes us up from the bed. It gets moms pissed off, like she gets boiling. It actually affects I and my sister.
How?
You're asking me how? See, mom snaps at every insignificant thing that happens in the house. See, she hates that woman with a passion.
Tom, is it that tall, slim lady?
Shut up.
But see, I don't blame your mom for hating that woman. No.
You don't blame her? Guys, see, your dad is just being benevolent, for God's sake. See, if they were really dating, do you think that you actually have the nerve to come to your house every morning like that? See, I don't see the big deal in it if you ask me.
Tell that to the jealous housewife.
Left to me, I wouldn't say she should be coming every single morning to disturb your mom and disorient her and everything. Why can't your dad just pick her up from the bus stop or something?
Does that seem wise? Okay, suppose some snoopy person in the estate sights her entering his dad's car and runs off to meet mom. What do you think she would say? Do you think she's going to believe him when he tells her that, oh honey, sorry, I was just giving her a lift? She's probably going to say the same thing, okay? See, I don't see anything wrong with her coming to the house except their ulterior motives.
So actually, I think you have a point. Like, why do something in secrecy if there's nothing to hide?
Thank you. Exactly my point. You see, your mom should be thanking herself that she has such an open-minded man as a husband. Because, guy, see, some men don't care. I tell you, I shall be men with they cheat on their wives like on a steady. They cheat on their wives and they don't even care. They will do it and they will clean mouth. What are you saying?
I said they will call that enjoyment too.
Enjoyment, yes.
So men like your dad.
Yeah, which one be that one now?
Shut up. You think I've not heard stories? Yeah, I've heard all the stories.
Now business. No, Joe. Sadi dad is cool. Thank you. I love your dad. I'm sure.
You love his dad. I will punch you for him now. I love this guy.
Just like the proverbial apple that never falls far from the tree. So here's the behavior of an individual. If traced, it's never far from the parent.
Undoubtedly, we all mirror our
Tracy's.
our parents or grandparent behaviors. You never can tell.
I don't die. ABO. Tell you. How your health now?
I'm not feeling any kudo.
You don't even need to tell me. I can see.
Sam, that woman a week ago, you see my face. He beat Anthony Joshua, he punched me there.
Omo, the woman deal with you. Sorry, but you said the woman wicked. How she say wicked? Now the way to your mouth bring on top you be this. I no tell you. You talk. Everybody you see, you insult. You just insult people for no reason. Now you are saying she's wicked. She's not wicked. She's not wicked.
You come here to talk. I know that's what you say. You this Mr. Advocate.
He's not been an advocate too. My guy. Once it's come to the truth, you don't say now me, I go tell you the truth. See, I'm your only friend. I will tell you the truth. It is what the problem your mouth brought to you. See, now one side you did now. And you see your mouth even nowhere you still quiet.
You come to be reading Constitution in this place, or you come to help me. Instead of you to come and help me go and boil what I take, come and read Constitution here for me.
See, I have come to help. I have come to help you. I will go now and make hot water, as in very hot water, to come and massage your face. I will.
Don't go and make that water too hot. Go and make it lukewarm.
You say?
Lukewarm.
It's lukewarm, not rook.
Give me, course.
Oh, yeah. Yes, did they pay you?
Oh,
you don't keep me. Sorry, I go. Magum.
Hey! Now, wow, see your face. How are you?
I'm fine. So all this time of things are happening, and you don't tell me anything. It's unfair, my sister.
Oh, Guinea.
It's unfair. You think I don't know? You locked yourself upstairs. You are thinking.
I was sitting there for a very long time, and I knew you were thinking. Why? How come? Where did you go? Don't vex, You know I can't possibly bother you or even discuss my personal matters with you. It's not proper. If you don't discuss your personal matter with me, then whom will you discuss with?
We are blood sisters. If anything happens to you, I'm the first person to know. So why did you do that? In short, I'm angry.
Just like the proverbial apple that never falls far from the tree. So is the behavior of an individual. If to rest, it's never far from the
Undoubtedly, we all mirror our parents or grandparents' behaviors. You never can tell. Oh, be careful what you do. You never can tell. Wanna be a mirror.
Good people of Ogun State, we have to be careful and be conscious of the increasing rate of kidnapping across the country. Security is everybody's business. We need to be vigilant. Always board vehicles at designated parks and garages. Do not ride motorcycles with strangers. Insist on a one-passenger ride. Avoid late-night movement. Do not accept any directive on phone by unknown persons. Verify any address before embarking on any employment journey. Report any suspicious movement in your area to security agencies or outfits. Be vigilant, be careful, be alert. Announcer, Ogun State Government.
Yes, sir!
Yabasira, now your new shop be this.
Yes, sir. Now my new shop be this.
This one a mega upgrade be this girl.
Now so, as that time they upgrade their customers. This Easter season, I say make me to shock my customer with mega upgrade.
That time don't they do upgrade again?
Yes, sir.
For this Easter, pay 2 months for Nova Bouquet. Start times go upgrade you, go basic or smart bouquet. Pay 2 months for basic or smart bouquet. Start times go upgrade you, go classic or super bouquet. Pay 2 months for classic or super bouquet. You go watch extra 10 days free. You fit be one of the lucky customers wey go get Easter hamper from Start times for your domot. E never finish yo. This Easter, Start times don reduce the decoder price from 9,400 naira to 7,400 naira for DTT and from 13,200 naira to 11,200 naira for DTH. This promo na from March 1 go reach April 30, 2021. Go recharge, make you enjoy better entertainment this Easter. Terms and conditions dey sha. Star Times, enjoy digital.
How well do you know your business environment?
Division of works in that system, whereby we have finance department who can monitor, who know what it takes to and what it takes to take a loan. We have those who know use it. It depends on the type of organization you are running.
It has been observed in Nigeria that it is producer or seller that dictate the price, the quantity, and the quality.
Which area of the economy are you interested in exploring?
As a CEO, as a chairman of the organization, if you're not serving your customers directly, somebody else is in your organization. That brings us to internal customers and external customers.
Do you need informed analysis on the stock market?
But if you are looking for dividend, constant dividend for a company that has potential, that is why you see that what call sectoral rotation now.
Then, the Profit Point Business Show on OGTV will take care of all you need to know to grow, to expand, as well as to sustain your business. The Profit Point, a leverage to be business-wise.
Why you no plant maize and cassava this year, sir?
Auntie Tisha, where's the thing bill? The maize wey dey house. We are for plant. Now my wife carry do pap. Where we dey shop for this lockdown period where we dey. The cassava stem where we cut don't dry. Has rain no quick fall. Now hunger be this one.
Hunger? Na hunger you call so? When one me say you never hear of the better plan where our Ogbonge governor do through Ministry of Agriculture. Na free. Then they share cassava stem and corn seed to all smallholder farmers. We one plant and the seed go grow well.
I beg you. I no fit the trouble my whole day the waka. Na person wey sabi person for government fit get that kind thing.
No be so. Governor Dakwa Abiodun time no be like that. If you get land for farming, come dey live for Ogun State and you get interest for farming, e don finish.